Next topic we're going to discuss is positive, neutral, and negative leverage. So basically put, positive leverage means that the debt you get on a property is enhancing the investment. It's making it better, better cash on cash return. Just like in the previous example, when we applied debt to option B, it made the cash on cash return go from 8% to 14%. So that's a positive leverage scenario. A negative leverage scenario is the exact opposite. So we would have our previous example, 8% would be with no leverage on it. A negative leverage scenario would be if our cash on cash return on a finance deal ended up being, say, 4% or 5%. It would be lower than if we just paid all cash. A neutral leverage situation just means it doesn't change. So our expected outcome in the example would have been 8%, whether it was leveraged with debt or not. So that's what positive, negative, and neutral leverage is. If we're really drilling down to how do we know, or what are we looking for, what are we talking about when we're talking about positive, neutral, and negative leverage, really what we're looking for is the rate of return, otherwise known as the entry cap rate. Is that higher than the interest rate you're getting on the financing? So if it is, like in our previous example, we had an 8% cap rate and a 6% interest rate, that would create a positive leverage. The return is higher than the interest rate. It's 2% higher. So in any scenario where the cap rate is higher than the interest rate, we're in a positive leverage situation. In a neutral leverage situation, say the cap rate was 8%, but the interest rate was 8%, they would kind of cancel each other out. And you can think about interest rate as the cost of the capital. You're getting capital lent to you for a price, and that price is the exact same that you're making by using that capital. So you're really taking from one place and giving to another, and it's really just canceling each other out. Negative leverage is a far more ominous scenario when the cap rate is lower than the interest rate. So back to our example, we're still at the same 8% entry cap rate, but the interest rate we get on the loan is 10%. So that would create a negative leverage situation. So I get asked this, why would someone take a negative leverage situation? It does happen out there, a lot more than you would think. So there are three scenarios where someone may take a negative leverage scenario, proposition. So the first one is if the deal has a value add component to it. So a value add component could be it's under rented. Market rent should be $1,000 per unit, but instead they're renting for $850 per unit. So with by purchasing the property with negative leverage, increasing rents to market rent or even above, the property is going to be worth more, the returns are going to be higher, and it could even jump above the interest rate that the owner is paying for the debt. So value add proposition. The next one is long-term appreciation. So they may think or they may believe that they're buying into an area which is going to explode in value over the next years. And they may take a negative leverage situation to be able to purchase a property in that area, take a hit for a few years until it starts to turn around, rents start to increase, the cap rate starts to decrease because the area's seen as more prominent. And so that may cause a negative leverage situation to turn into a positive leverage situation. The final one I have here is definitely a lot more relevant in recent times, especially as this video has been taped, and that is that the belief that interest rates will come down at some point in the near future, and the owner will be able to refinance into a lower rate. So to use an example, say we have a cap rate of a property to purchase at 5%. Interest rates, however, are 6.5%. So you're automatically in a negative leverage situation. You're 1.5% below what interest rates are. So you can't even make if you're financing it completely, you couldn't even make the debt payments on that property. However, you may be of the belief that in 6 months, the Federal Reserve is going to drop interest rates, and you're going to be able to get financing at 4%. So you've gone from being in a negative leverage situation. If you are able to get financing at 4%, now you're in a positive leverage situation. So those three things, a value add proposition, long-term appreciation, and a belief that interest rates will come down and you'll be able to refinance, are the three main reasons why someone would take on a property with negative leverage.